Annex A.10 Cryptography. What is cryptography? What is cryptography? This is a question.
Encryption.
Encryption. This cryptography is a science, the science of encryption. In cryptography, you will find two types of controls: cryptography usage policy and key management. These are the two controls covered by cryptography. Question: what do you think if we make encryption or encrypt all the data inside the company and we will not allow any text in clear at all? Everything, it will be encrypted. Everything. Is it good or bad? And why?
It is good due to the reason that everything is encrypted. It's not visible to unauthorized users. But sometimes we have some data that is irrelevant if the others see or doesn't see. In that case, it is bad because it is causing overhead to the systems. It is causing the extra cost to the business to have the control implemented on that data.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adnan. This is a perfect answer. Cryptography, it's a good option. But as Adnan, he mentioned now, cryptography, it can be good and it can be bad. It can be good because it will encrypt all the data, and this, it will protect the data and its confidentiality and integrity, right? But on the other hand, configuration of cryptography, it's not easy. Besides, it requires a process operations on the devices. It will consume resources. Instead of use these resources of applications, it will be used with the encryption and decryption. And also it will affect the network bandwidth, because encryption and decryption, it will add some additional packets to the original data. Then cryptography, it's good if you will utilize it when it is mandatory or it's required to be used. Cryptography, it will protect the confidentiality of the data, it will protect the integrity of the data, and it will have something called non-repudiation as well. And these concepts, it will be covered later in our courses for security concepts. Okay? In cryptography, you will find that we have two controls, one for the usage, as we mentioned. When do you use the cryptography? This was the reason why did I ask if you want to make everything encrypted or not, because as Adnan, he explained to us, we must use the cryptography when we really need it. And the key management. This is the key which it will be used in encryption and decryption, how you can generate it, how to import it, how to store it, how to use it, how it will be expired, and how you'll be revoked, and so on. Okay? In your policy, in Annex 10, organization must have be defined what is the type of the data which it will be protected by encryption. This is very important. We will not encrypt all the data. We have to define what is the confidential data which it will be protected. And who will define this? Who will define the data which it will be you want to protect by encryption? Who is the person or process which it will define that this data, if it will be encrypted or not? Any answer?
Again,
No,
I think the data owner, I think.
no,
The classification of the data?
no. Classification of the data, it's okay, it's reasonable, but again, this is not the answer which I want to hear it.
The sensitive information, basically, the information that is basically the asset for the company, or it is required to be secure based on the regulations,
Okay, but by the end,
like PII or financial information, health information, the things like that.
okay, it's a good answer, but again, it is not the right answer. The right answer is the risk assessment.
معلش يا أبو يحيى بس ممكن can you repeat the question please because I don't get the question right.
What is the process or the person who should define what are the areas of data, or what is the data which it should be encrypted? The risk assessment, gentlemen. The risk assessment, because encryption, it can be one of the technical controls. Okay?
Abu Yahya, sorry, because I think I'm not the only one who is confused here. We agreed that the owner, the data owner, he is the one that he should classify the data, right?
Okay.
So when I mention, for example, this data should be confidential or should be encrypted.
No, when it should be confidential, it should not be encrypted. Who said that it's confidential and encrypted? I'm a data owner. I said that this is confidential. That's fine. Great. But I did not say it's encrypted. This is not my decision. I am working as a CEO for a factory. I'm not familiar with what you are saying, encryption and all this stuff. It's confidential. Okay, when the security team, they understand this data is confidential and it's important asset to the company. They have to work to protect this data. They made the risk assessment and they found that what are the risks against this data? It may be accessed by unauthorized persons. It may be changed. It may be lost. Okay, then what is the controls which we have it? We can have access control, and one of the control, it will be the encryption. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then this is the cryptography topic for the ISO 27001. The physical and environment security. Physical security, it's related to what? Protecting the assets or data center. In Annex A.11, you will find that it has two types of controls. Control for secure access and securing the equipments. Securing the secure areas as what? Data centers, offices. In the data center, you must have a fence. You must have an access control. Then you will be able to access the room itself. You must have an AC. You must have a power, secondary power resource or source. You must have a UPS. These are the type of
CCTV.
CCTV. These are the security controls, which are considered as physical security. And also for securing the equipments. Also for securing the equipments. How you can secure the equipment? For example, you have to provide power without any surge or power failure by using QPS. Protection of cables from damage or interception. Do you think that cables, it can be vulnerability in your infrastructure? Do you think that cables can be a vulnerability in your infrastructure? Any question, answer?
Yes.
I think yes.
How? How it can be a weakness?
In case if it is not organized well,
Then
then
will happen?
hazard triggered.
If the cables are damaged, it can cause the unavailability of the data.
Okay, excellent. Then this means that it will affect the availability. That's right. What else?
It can cause, there are some technologies nowadays that we can use to intercept the data passing from the cables.
You are right.
So,
You are right. Interception of the cables. When this means that you can capture the data, and this it will affect confidentiality and integrity. Okay. Also for protecting secure and securing equipment, but you may have a policy that it should not be allowed to leave the organization premises without any approval. And I think there are a lot of companies and organizations we are doing this. You will not be able to take any device outside the company gate without any permission. And finally, you must have a policy for clean disk. What is clean disk? What is clean disk? This is question.
Wiping the data from the.
writing
What?
password. Sometimes people write passwords on sticky notes and they paste it on in front of the monitor.
Yes, this one of the points. What else?
Maybe some papers that have some sensitive information.
Excellent. Yes, that's right. You are working on a specific project and you have some diagrams or maybe network architecture on the diagrams on the disk, and you want to have a cup of coffee. Then you left your disk to bring a coffee, and you found one of your colleagues at the coffee machine, and you had a short chat with him for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Then this means that all this information, it's left unsecure on your disk, and anyone he is passing by the disk, he can have a look on it, and he can take this data or even make a photocopy of it or make a copy by mobile or whatever.
Take it away.
Sorry?
Take it.
What is the right action here, gentlemen?
Yes.
Do you think that I will not get a cup of coffee? I need the coffee where I can continue what I am doing. Then what is the right action here?
I think you are asking the action or another examples.
The action.
Okay, for this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't keep documents unlocked.
The documents, it should be locked.
No, I mean you shouldn't keep the documents unlocked.
Yes, if I want to have a cup of coffee, I have to collect all these papers, put it in my drawer and close it. Then this data, no one he will be able to see it or leak it.
Also keeping the desktop or laptop unlocked, Abu Yahya, I think it is one of the policies, right?
Of course, because if you keep your machines unlocked, anyone can come, open it, see the emails, documents, whatever. This is again a policy. You know, in some organization, if you leave your notebook or desktop, it's unlocked, you have to take a note.
Actually, a resignation letter to be sent from desk.
I heard this before. I did not see it, but I heard that it happened before. One of my colleagues, he mentioned that he left his machine. When his manager, he came and he found that his machine is unlocked. When he logged into the email, he sent a resignation letter from the employee's machine to himself, who is his direct manager. When he locked the machine, when after 5 or 10 minutes, he called the employee and he told him that he agree for his resignation and he will give him 1 month as a note. Of course, the employee was very surprised. I did not send any resignation. He said, how? Go and check your email. You find that it is there and it's sent to me and I approve it already. And after some time, they discovered the play and he attended an awareness session for the side effects of leaving his machine unlocked. Okay.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
The next annex, it's operational security. Of course, gentlemen, operation is very, very, very important related to security. And if you can remember, we mentioned yesterday that we had a clause for security, which it was clause number 8 for operations. Operation is very important because imagine if you have the best network security all over the world and no one here is monitoring this network and make the requirements to protect this network, discover attacks, discover malware, and so on, then this network is not secure at all, and all the devices and controls which you implemented, it's useless. In operational control, you have some points which you have to take it in your consideration. And I think we explained some of these points yesterday as capacity management. You must have a process for the capacity management to monitor the usage of IT resources and make forecast for future requirements. Security or operational team, they must document all the operation processes and make these documents up to date. We have to make a separation between development, testing, and operational environments. It's nonsense that to have to test a new batch or a new application on the operational environment because this can affect the availability or affect the presence of your service for your customers. Operation team, they have to check against malware, viruses, and so on. Do have some applications for whitelist the application or blacklist application or whatever. Gentlemen, what is the difference between blacklisting and whitelisting? When I say application and this application is doing blacklisting application or whitelisting application, what is the difference between both of them?
Okay, blacklisting, that the list that should be blocked, that no one can access it.
And what about the whitelisting?
Whitelisting, no, the opposite, that we will allow to access it and use it.
Do you need to use both of them at the same time or it's only one?
No, we need both sometimes, like in firewall. We should do
firewall, it's not
proxy.
doing blacklisting applications.
I'm sorry, the proxy.
Okay, any other answer?
I think besides the point that has been highlighted by Abdullah, the whitelisted, it is the tool that has been trusted and passes the risk assessment. So it is trusted within the organization. The blacklisted, it means this tool has risks against the security and the policies of the company. So it has been blocked or not authorized to be used within the organization.
Okay, unfortunately, no. Both answers are not the right answers.
My answer is not.
No, it is not. The blacklisting and whitelisting concepts of applications, it depends upon the concept. When I say the application, it whitelist, then this means that it will block everything and allow only specific applications. And when
Yes.
I will say blacklist, then this means that it will allow everything, but it will block some applications.
Right.
And usually you are using one of these concepts in the application. Okay, is it clear?
No, it is not clear, Rabih.
When you will say blacklisting or whitelisting, the application whitelisting, then it will block everything by default. It will block every and all applications, except the applications which you will define it in the whitelisting. Then in the whitelist, if you have 3 applications, then all other applications are blocked except these 3.
Right.
When you will say blacklisting, then all the applications are allowed, except the applications which are defined in the blacklisting.
It means it will be used one at a time, not both of them.
Yes, you are right. When you will make the configuration or when you will make the architecture of the design, it depends upon which concept you will apply. Yani usually the application, it will support both of them, but you have to check one of them only. Is it blacklisting or whitelisting?
When a new tool it is introduced into the company, usually I mean now I'm giving you as a scenario just to understand how it will be applied. Now in the companies, when a new tool or a new product it requires to be introduced within the company, there should be security assessment risk done on that tool, right?
Okay.
In case it pass this risk assessment and there is no any risks or any issues from using this tool within the company, this case it will be accepted by the company, right?
Yes.
Okay. And another scenario, the tool it is not accepted by the company.
Okay.
How the companies now will deal with these two scenarios? So it will consider this when I accept it, it will put it in whitelisted.
If my design for the application for allowing or disallowing application, if my design whitelisting, then I have to add this application in the whitelisting. If my design depends upon blacklisting, then I have to make sure that this application it's not mentioned in the blacklisting.
Assume over here that my design or my environment depending on whitelisting, okay?
Okay.
And I have refused or rejected a certain product.
Okay.
This it should be a record for this rejected product in somewhere that when it instead of doing or reworking again, doing the rework again, I can return back to this record to understand this. It already
application, it's only whitelist and blacklist. It does not know anything about what you are saying. You have a tool or application, you test it, it's not authorized. And it's whitelisting. Then you did not add it. If you have to repeat this exercise again by mistake or whatever after 1 year or 2 years, this is an administration problem. It's not related to the application at all.
But what I mean here, Abu Yahya, there should be a record for the blacklisted or
no,
the
no. It depends upon. La. It depends upon if you are considered the whitelist. Whitelist, it allow only the whitelisted. Then blacklist, it will not be enabled at that time. You keep in your mind, if you enable one of this listing, the other one, it will not be available. I enabled the whitelisting.
Then I can keep this reports away here. This is the concern now. I already did assessment, and you know the assessment, it is not an easy job for the tools. So in order to keep a record for that, it should be kept in somewhere that I can refer to it as a reference in case.
Keep it in somewhere. I don't have any problem, but not in this application. This application, its objective, its scope to allow or disallow applications. When you want to keep it in a different register, you want to keep it in wherever, I don't care. This is not my problem here. My problem, I have an application as bit9 or whatever, or carbon copy or whatever. And this application, what it will do, it will allow software on desktop or disallow software on the desktop. That's it. This is scope.
Yeah, sorry, I understand you. So you are talking from the technology point of view, the application that you enable into your environment. Sorry, I was talking about as a process-wise. I'm so sorry.
In ISO 27001, I don't care about the process. It may be a quality. And maybe in 9001, we can discuss about the process and the quality of the process. Okay.
Yeah,
let's continue. In the operation security, we have also we have to make a backup and recovery. This is very important. We have to make a backup and recovery for the data and make sure that this backup are maintained properly. We have to enable the logging and monitoring. And as we mentioned yesterday, we had to make the monitoring measurement because this it will help in analysis and evaluation. We have to install software on the operational systems and operating systems. We have to manage change management process. And finally, we have to check for any technical vulnerabilities in the assets and in the applications which we use it. These are the expectations from the operational team in the Annex A for ISO 27001. Annex 13, it will speak about communication security. And in communication security, we have two different controls. Control for network security and control for information transfer. How to protect your network security? We want to protect the network or the information during the exchange over the network. Well, it will not be captured. Also, we have to split the network into multiple zones. For example, you have to create DMZ, internal, or maybe internal. It can be split into multiple zones, data center zone, or whatever. It depends upon your design, but it should have different zones. What is the benefit of network zoning? Question. What is the benefit of network zoning?
Access control.
Sorry?
To control the access to the data to sensitive servers.
You are right, to control the data and protect the data, because if you have a data or confidential data, it should reside in some network segment where it is protected and it has no direct connection to the internet, for example. Then how to protect your network? Number one, you have to provide zoning or different zones where the data, it will be stored based on its classification. You have to protect the data exchange from capturing or reconnaissance or whatever. You have to protect the network devices from access. Imagine if you have a switch and you have an access for this switch by any means, and this means that you will be able to capture all the traffic and you can be able to draw a blueprint for your network. You have to make a segregation for the network. Okay. Also, we have a control for information transfer. How the data it will be transferred over your network. You must have a clear policy and procedure. It can be through email. It can be through an instant messaging. It can be through a website. It can be through news groups. Of course, data transfer, it depends upon the data classification. Because in a data classification, if the data is classified as confidential or sensitive, then this data it should not leave the company premises. If it's encrypted, if it's confidential and you must, for business needs, to take it for a partner or for a vendor or whatever, then you have to use encryption or cryptography with the appropriate access controls for authentication and authorization. Also, you have to define the non-disclosure agreements with the employees or external partners who will use this data. Because even, just imagine one of the scenarios, you have a good security measures, which it encrypt, you define the data is confidential for data classification, you encrypt the data, it is sent encrypted to your vendor, and the vendor he was able to decrypt the data to read it, but unfortunately this data it's leaked by the vendor himself. Then all these technical controls were not enough to protect the data. But you have to make something as administrative control, which is an NDA. An NDA, non-disclosure agreement, when the partner who will be responsible for protecting the data and not leaking this data from his side. Okay? Annex A.14, System Acquisition, Development, and Maintenance. Mainly, this it will be, of course, in this it will be covered hardware and software. If you are getting a new system to acquire it from the market or software and you have to develop it and how to operate it. Again, we have two different controls for Annex A.14. Security requirements for information systems and for security in development, support, and support services operations. It is very important, gentlemen, to know also we have to another control for protecting test data, to protect the test data. It is very important to define what are the security requirements do you require. If you have any need for any new system, you have to define what are the needs or requirements. This is number one. Then you have to define the security requirements of the new system. You have to understand the security of the proposed solution and compare it with the security requirements which you defined before. If they are matching, great. If it's not, then this means that you have to make a gap analysis and check how these differences it will be resolved and fix it. If these problems will not be able to fix it, then this system is not suitable and you have to disallow it. It will not be allowed to be used in my organization. Okay? Is it clear? البطارية يا شباب، بلاش البطارية على راسكم الله يرضى عليكم.
بلاش يا يحيى، واخد بالي منها.
طيب. أنا خايف بس لأحسن تعرق وتعيا لما ناخد البريك.
لا تقلق إن شاء الله.
This is the Annex A.14. Also, you'll find the security in development and support process. If you are developing a new software, it's very important to understand that you have to use secure development policy and secure development software. Don't depend upon libraries from the internet to develop your software because you don't know how these libraries are developed. Except if you will open these libraries and go through the coding line by line, it will be okay because this means that you will understand what is the library which you are working with. You have to keep some sort of system engineering principles. These principles, it will be considered as a principle for any developer who want to develop an application for your organization. And Finally, the most important thing that you have to test this application in the development area or development zone and to test its security, if it's secure or not. Don't take the application after immediately implement it and put it in the production. It should be tested in a development environment first. You have also to protect your test data. Test data is very important. It should not contain any confidential data or personal data. This is very critical. It will be very critical for your company. Okay. We will have a short break because I am feeling that you are already sleepy now. And I think the next session, it will be the final session. We have only maybe half an hour after that.